Hello and welcome to a quick little video on Notebook LM. My name is Adam Morgan, a cloud engineer with Tridorian, and I'll be showing you around today. If you don't know what Notebook LM is, it's a tool developed by Google leveraging its Vertex AI technologies where you can upload sources, aka documents, and then interact with them via chat, or in this case, we're going to be using interactive mode, which is in a beta, where you can have natural conversations with a certain number of hosts discussing the topics that you have uploaded. Check it out. So let's get started. We'll come over here to interactive mode and click that. And you'll see here there's two hosts, which basically means that we'll have two people talking about the documents we've uploaded. You can start by pressing play here. You can restart over here. And then here you can raise your hand, ask questions about the conversation they're having. So let's get started.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're getting into something really exciting, large language models, specifically how you can actually deploy these powerful open source options, something like DeepSeek R1, right onto Google Cloud Platform. Think of this as finding the best strategy for you to really harness this tech.
Yeah, and what's really interesting, is just how popular open source LLMs are becoming. It's about flexibility, transparency. You can actually see under the hood, and honestly, the potential for saving costs. It makes them a really strong choice if you want more direct control over your AI.
Totally. And to help us navigate deploying DeepSeek R1 on GCP, we've got an expert with us today, a cloud engineer from Tridorian. Welcome to the deep dive.
Hey, thanks for having me. Good to be here.
So our main goal today really is to unpack a crucial choice you'll face: compute engine or Vertex AI for getting your LLM up and running. It's sort of like choosing between building your own custom workshop or getting a factory that's basically ready to go. Let's start with that workshop idea. Compute engine, what's the deal there?
Okay, yeah, let's unpack compute engine. Think of it as maximum control. It's your infrastructure, your rules, basically. It's very customizable. You manage the whole stack from the virtual machines right up to your app. It's really highlighted as this sort of DIY powerhouse, perfect if you need really specific setups or maybe strict compliance needs.
Like regulatory stuff.
Exactly, that kind of thing. Or even if you need a completely isolated environment, what we call air-gapped.
Right, air-gapped. So if you're the kind of person or team that wants to tweak every little detail, compute engine sounds like the way to go. So when should you really pick compute engine over, say, the managed approach of Vertex AI? That seems to be the key question.
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Look, if your absolute top priorities are that really deep infrastructure control, that highly specific customizations, things that maybe a managed service just doesn't offer, or there's really strict compliance requirements we mentioned, or the absolute need for an air-gapped setup.
Where it can't touch the public internet at all.
Precisely. Super critical in some security contexts. If those are your drivers, then yeah, compute engine is probably your best bet.
Hey there. Want to share your thoughts on this?
Yeah, so we've been talking about compute engine, which is completely self-managed besides the hardware. And then the other option is a completely managed approach like Vertex AI deployments. However, there's a few other options that Google Cloud provides in the middle, such as Kubernetes, App Engine, and Cloud Run. So how would deploying differ on these kinds of options? And what would be the deciding factor on pursuing something like a GKE setup?
That's a really insightful point. You're right. There are definitely other deployment avenues on GCP that offer different levels of management.
Yeah, it's not just black and white, DIY, or fully managed. There's a spectrum.
Exactly. When you think about something like Google Kubernetes Engine or GKE, you're getting a lot more control than Vertex AI. But Google still handles the underlying infrastructure of your Kubernetes cluster.
So you manage the containers and orchestration, but not the actual machines.
Precisely. The deciding factor for GKE often comes down to the need for that container orchestration. If you have a complex application with multiple microservices, or you're already heavily invested in the Kubernetes ecosystem for its flexibility and scalability, GKE can be a really powerful choice for deploying DeepSeek R1.
That makes sense. What about App Engine or Cloud Run? How do they fit into the picture for LLM deployment?
App Engine, especially the flexible environment, and Cloud Run offer even less infrastructure management than GKE. They're really focused on letting you deploy containerized applications or even just code with automatic scaling.
So more abstracting away the server stuff.
Exactly. For DeepSeek R1, these could be good options if you're building a more lightweight application on top of the model and want that serverless experience. The trade-off might be less direct control over the underlying hardware compared to compute engine or even GKE.
Interesting. So the level of control and the complexity of your overall application seem to be key in choosing the right deployment method. Thanks for pointing that out. Okay, so going back to our original comparison, we've covered the build-it-yourself approach with compute engine. Now let's flip the coin. Vertex AI. It sounds like it's built for speed, for simplicity. What's the big appeal there for something like DeepSeek R1?
Vertex AI is really about getting to market faster and scaling without the headache. It's a fully managed machine learning platform. It handles a ton of the heavy lifting for you. Things like scaling the infrastructure automatically, managing the model endpoints, integrating with MLOps tools. It takes care of that. The idea is you focus more on your model and less on the plumbing underneath.
Less time building infrastructure, more time deploying the actual model. So that begs the question, how fast could someone realistically deploy DeepSeek R1 from scratch using Vertex AI?
And that was a key difference, right? With Compute Engine, you're doing the setup, configuring networks. It takes time, expertise. Vertex AI, just because it's managed, offers a significantly faster path if you've got your DeepSeek R1 model already containerized, packaged up nicely, basically.
Ready to go?
Yeah, ready to go. You could potentially have an endpoint live in, maybe minutes. It really speeds up getting value from the model.
Wow, okay, oh yeah, go on.
So yeah, the benefits of deploying on Vertex AI are great, but what are the cost considerations for this between Vertex AI and Compute Engine? And furthermore, having it be completely managed and open to the internet, what are the security risks between the two, and how would you mitigate those risks?
That's a really important set of questions. Let's unpack the cost first.
Yeah, the bottom line, what's it going to cost me?
With Compute Engine, you have very direct control over your spending. You pay for the virtual machines, the storage, the networking resources you use. You can leverage sustained use discounts for longer workloads, which can bring costs down.
So it's very much a pay-as-you-go, manage-it-yourself cost model.
Exactly. Vertex AI, on the other hand, has a more integrated pricing structure. You're paying for the managed service, which includes infrastructure, scaling, and those MLOps features we mentioned. It can be really cost-effective for variable workloads because you're not paying for idle resources.
Right, the auto-scaling helps optimize spending. But what about the security side of things?
Security is paramount, especially with models accessible over the internet. Compute Engine gives you granular control to configure your network using VPC service controls to limit data access. You're responsible for setting up firewalls, managing access controls, and securing your instances.
So the security is in your hands, which can be a pro or a con depending on your team's expertise.
Precisely. Vertex AI provides enterprise-grade security features built in. Things like network isolation and compliance certifications. Model data is secured, and access to your endpoints is managed through IAM policies.
But since it's a managed service, are there any inherent risks with Vertex AI being more open to the internet?
That's a valid concern. While Vertex AI handles a lot of the underlying security, you still need to configure your model endpoints and access controls carefully. Using strong authentication, limiting access to only authorized users, and monitoring for any unusual activity are crucial mitigation steps for both platforms.
That makes sense. So careful configuration and monitoring are key, regardless of which path you choose.